All right, hello, hello, hello. How's it going there, Citrus? How's it going, Rasmus and Sergeant? How are you guys? All right, here. So let's go ahead. Be doing some build work. I'd like to do some multiplayer tomorrow, so make sure we're all set for that. There have been great accusations on the old discussions, so let's look. These endless entertainment derived from the comments section. Always entertaining. So, you know, we have the standard accusation that, well, ships still don't sink. Door frames do not let water through from the ocean into the model. It's the same with hatches. Me showing a link that literally shows that ships will, in fact, sink. All right. And then this person trying to say that they still don't. And so let's go ahead and let's actually look again. We'll look and make sure that that they do in fact sink. So this is on the workshop. I'm going to put the other one up on the workshop. That's why I'm kind of doing this now. So here's the sink box. This is on the workshop. All right. So this is the link that I shared to that person who says that doors. Let's read it verbatim. Again, somebody linked something. All you have to do is check it out. So let's see. Where do they say? Find it exactly. Door frames do not let water through from the ocean into the model. It's the same with hatches. Okay. So this has hatches, doors, electric hatches on there, right? Let's go ahead and see if this sucker sinks. All right. So that is electric hatches. Remember, it doesn't sink. Game's broken. All right. Let's try this one. This one has no hatches on it whatsoever. This is just a damage model test. So you see, no hatches on this sucker, just explosives. Does this sink? Make sure the vehicle damage is off. Let me fix that. I forgot every time I reload this save, vehicle damage defaults off. All right, let's spawn this one again and actually blow it up with damage on. All right, let's see what it does. So they both have timers on them, so they will tell us if they, when they go below the level of the water. So this one, again, remember, hatches do not allow water in. What is this magical liquid called seawater that is coming in and 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 in? Remember, they do not allow water in. Right? Don't allow water in these hatches. Not a drop. Not a drop of water comes in these hatches. Game broken. Ships still don't sink. All right. Remember that. All right, let's look over here. 28,000 liters of what? Couldn't be water. Ships don't sink. Oh, oh, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? Oh, what's happening? Ships don't sink? Right to the bottom. All right, let's see. We'll go back and we'll read some more commentary. We'll read the response from that person. Again, as soon as the water reaches just above the door frame or hatch, the water ingress slows. Again, you didn't say that, though. You said, does not let water through from the ocean. Okay, so now you're changing your tune. You said, they do not let water through, right? That is a statement of no water comes through. Now you've changed your statement into the water ingress slows. So water does come in. So the water ingress slows down considerably, but does it come in? Oh, it does come in. So that first statement, incorrect. Lead into a model that once sank in a few minutes to sink in hours. So your issue is the balancing. I get that. It's a balancing issue. Again, some of us want to actually play a game where our vehicles don't sink in 3 seconds. I understand that you want to have your little yay sink and ship survival thing. I get that. That's perfectly valid gameplay. But there has to be a balance where those of us who don't want our ships to sink because we're actually playing the game as intended, as a survival game, and as a rescue game, and we want our ship to not sink, we don't want our ship to sink in 3 seconds. And you want your ship to sink in 3 seconds. So I get that. You can make your ship sink in 3 seconds if you want. I can have a ship that does not sink in 3 seconds. Again, that is the benefit of having this type of game where you can make your ship do what you want it to do. All right. The only alternative to scuttle a ship is use pumps. Oh, so this didn't work then. Looks like that worked for me. So explosives certainly work. Again, that was a claim people had for quite a while that explosives don't work. There's no hatches on this. 100% explosives on this. Let's see how long this one took to sink. Did it take hours? 59 seconds. So just short of a minute. So seconds, not even minutes for this to sink. All right. This one does take some time. This one takes a while. All right. Now, it's generally because the door frames here are on the top and bottom. Here are your door frames, top and bottom. The water is coming in. Now, again, their first statement was no water comes in. That's all, what I always see is no water comes in. Then you ask them, well, did you put a... Well, water comes in, but it comes in slowly. Okay, well, then don't say water doesn't come in. Say water comes in slower than I would like. All right? That would be the appropriate statement there. So that one's... So I think we've proven that explosives work. All right. So if you want to actually sink your ship, if you like the little sinking ship survival, again, it's not my cup of tea, but I don't poop on other people's fun because, again, that's just as valid as gameplay as mine. All right, so let's grab the Ship Sinker 5000. Ship Sinker 5000, real simple here. All right, so this is the Ship Sinker 5000. This is just a simple box. All it has on it is one electric hatch. Now, when you damage an electric hatch, it opens. So that will allow water in. So if you want to do your scuttling, right, you want to have your sinking ship survival, which is perfectly fine with me. If you want to do that, you can have it. All you have to do is put in a little door here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make it so let's not do explosives. Let's just do the hatches. All right, so let's paste one here. What do I got? Two boxes off, something like that. 1, 2. All right. Let's go ahead. We'll cut out the wall. Let's cut out the wall over here. Let's put in the Ship Sinker 5000. Real crazy piece of tech here. It is literally a hatch sideways. All right. And it's even XML, so you can't see it. I did that on purpose, so if you want to have a nice streamlined looking ship that you want to do sinking ship survival, you can. All right, there's the door. So if you blow this door up, it will do it. All right, what we're going to do here is we're going to put a separate toggle on here. And we'll go like this. Where are we at here? Where's the activation? Right there's the activation, and then we want to just do the 2 doors. All right. So let's try this now. So we have sideways doors. Doors are open. And water's coming in. Let's let that sit. The timer should be going. Let's check it. All right, and if you want something to sink faster, put more doors on. Again, you know, it's an engineering game. You get to build your own stuff. You can build what you want. If you want to sink faster, build it so it sinks faster. You know, if you want it to sink at a more reasonable rate so you can actually play the game as intended, you can do that as well. So as you can see, this one is in fact sinking. Is it slower than this person would like? Sure. They have to wait a little bit. But, again, we see these things on a daily basis. Game broken, this doesn't work, and then I quickly come in here and demonstrate, yes, it does in fact work. Again, you just didn't design it right. And so I don't do that to be a prick. I'm doing it to show people that, you know, stop jumping to conclusions that the game is always broken. Like, oftentimes, oh my god, what's happening there? What is happening there? Questions. Oh, I thought water doesn't come in anymore, and it takes hours to sink a ship. Good lordy, man. Good lordy, have I been misled? Let's see. Does it in fact sink to the bottom of the ocean in minutes, not hours? I had to spam so many hatches on there, too. Let us see. Does she sink? Let us look. We'll wait. All right, so I do this. I know I'm kind of being a prick a little bit with some of the stuff, but again, I see this on a daily basis as though, these are not overcome, they're insurmountable problems that cannot be overcome, and it's just a bunch of bullshit, frankly. It can be done. And I've literally put these things, 69 seconds, oh my god, look at that. Giggity giggity, what a number. So, 1 minute and 9 seconds for this ship to sink. 1 minute and 9 seconds. Now, if you say that 1 minute and 9 seconds for a ship to sink is too long, I think you need to reevaluate what you're doing with your life, because your time is so precious to you that you might have to take a break. Time is obviously too precious for you to be playing a game. So, as stated many a time, if your hatches are on the top and the bottom, the flow rates are slower, as you can see. This box here is, I think it took 600 something. Now, the numbers seem very interesting to me. I believe it's like 690 seconds, and the other one sunk in 69 seconds. So, those numbers seem familiar, just off decimal place, 2 decimal places. So likely, I would say, again, there's a hard-coded number in there. You're going to get a certain flow rate through top-bottom doors, and you're going to get a certain flow rate through side doors. All right, but as we pretty much demonstrate here I would say reliably here, that we have a ship that sinks in 69 seconds. This one, I think, takes something like 600 seconds. So, for example, if you want to build a Titanic that you can actually have a chance to escape and everything else, you might want to put doors top-bottom. If you want something to sink very fast, maybe put it on the sides. As demonstrated with the first one, yes, explosives do destroy stuff. So when people say that, oh, I've hit it with 400 torpedoes and it won't go down, hit it with 500 torpedoes. You have not hit it enough to damage it. And if you want it to sink quickly when you hit it with a torpedo, very simple. Put a hatch sideways. As soon as a torpedo damages it, the door will fly open, and as you can see, in less than a minute, sucker is on the 1 minute and 9 seconds. Sucker is on the bottom. So, kind of what I started with there. It kind of got my ire up looking at, once again, ships don't sink. Back on the thing when ships have been sinking for a very long time. Let's go back to Steam real quick. I'll get off this topic, but it drives me absolutely shithouse. It really does. Because it's like I literally include a link to a build that was released, let's see, when was it released? Posted February 10th. So I posted this February 10th after months and months of listening to the Ships Don't Sink and putting one up that sinks. So I'm going to be releasing some more of these to demonstrate all the different ways that, yes, things do in fact friggin' sink. And they do in fact friggin' sink friggin' fast. So let's quickly save this one. I have to swim to the bottom because it's out of the load area. But that's the first thing I want to work on, is I want to get these out there. I know I'm being kind of a dickhead with the way I'm talking about this, but the whole point of this is, people need to like realize that this, when something is complicated, oftentimes it is something you're doing that's causing the problem. Not always, but oftentimes, most of the time with engineering, it's something that you're engineering incorrectly, and if you engineer it a different way, it will work. And I see time and time again people blaming the game for stuff that is something they're doing, which is understandable. It's complex. You don't understand why it's doing this. That can be frustrating. Calm down, take a breath, and ask for help in a reasonable way. Say, hey, I'm trying to do this. I can't do this. Could you guys help me out? And you'll find that people in this community are very helpful, and they will help you do the thing you're trying to achieve. So, that would be the tack to do it, instead of just assuming game broke. Boo-boo, game broke. And it pisses me off because, and I'll show you why. This is kind of why I got on this topic to start with. Let's go to this comment here. This one's already been reported. I think, if you'd like, you guys should report this comment as well, as it violates Steam rules. How about stop spending time on this effing, it's effing shit game, as I think what they wrote. And, effing put efforts into Carrier Command 2. How about give that game some love rather than this crap? Okay. So let's look at the history of Carrier Command 2 here. I'll bring the link up first. So first thing we'll look at is stormworks charts. 2,153 player peak, 2,131 players currently. Pretty lively game. all right, for a niche engineering and building game. All right, let's look up Carrier Command 2. If I could spell. All right, Carrier Command 2. Let's look at the charts on that. 47 players played in 24 hours. All right, this game is pretty much a dead game. You know, you can't support a four-person dev team when only 47 people are playing your game. You just can't do it. Let's see if Manor Lords is on here. All right, Manor Lords is made by one dude. One dude is making Manor Lords. All right, so one guy, one dev. 22,000 people are playing today. 19,000, almost 20,000 people are playing Manor Lords right now. That is one developer. All right, so that means that this person can work on this game and feed their family because there's enough people playing the game. Now, if you look at Carrier Command 2, we have 47 people. All right, so there are 4 devs at Geometa, and there's 47 people playing this game, and there are 2,100. Oh, we just hit the peak. The peak is now 2,162 people are currently playing this game. So if you were trying to feed your family, which game would you work on? Personally, I would work on the game that has 2,162 people in it, not the game that has 47 people in it in the last 24 hours. All right, and so this is why I kind of harp on these things is, you know, games die sometimes because of developer decisions, but they also die because communities. And communities can either be good communities or bad communities, and I'm doing my part to try to have a good, vibrant community. You know, I think we do have a really good, vibrant community here. We certainly have our negative elements, but for the most part, we have a good community here. And the community can keep a game alive by supporting that game. And it's kind of a chicken and the egg thing. You know, people say, I'll support the game when the devs are better. Well, again, it's a job for them. They have to come in, they have to work, they need to make money. And so, you know, it's a chicken and the egg thing. You can play this little game where you know, want to do review bombs and you want to do boycotts and bullshit like this, but all you do is you greatly increase the chance of a game dying. If you want your game to live, you need to support your game. Right now, the people are not supporting Carrier Command 2. They're just not. There's 47 people in there. Now, if there were enough people in there where the devs said, hey, we could, you know, this is worth our time, you know, they would be supporting it. And they are supporting it. I just looked, like, I know nothing about Carrier Command 2, but I looked on Steam. They just put out an update in March. I don't know how big of an update it was. Again, I'm not paying attention to Carrier Command 2 all that much. But this is how you keep your game alive, is you support the game. You show the devs that, hey, there are enough people playing here that more people will buy the game to play, and that, you know, because enough people are supporting the game, the devs can support the game back. When you don't support your game will die. And that's why I'm very happy to see that we have good numbers going on now. People are enjoying it. We're having a normal uptick into June. As you can see, normal uptick into June. I'm glad to see that. You know, a community can ruin a game. A developer can certainly ruin a game. And so this is why I kind of go into this is, you know, imagine you're a new player and you see all this bullshit from people like this who say the game is broken, the game is not working at all. I think that's why I'm a big advocate for us coming out as people who are enjoying the game, helping other players, and making sure that, you know, potentially new players who we want to come and pay for the game to support the game so that we don't have to, say, for example, pay for more DLC, which I'm happy to pay for, but the people crying about they don't want to pay for DLC, one way you prevent from having DLC is making sure that the game is supported by the community so that new players can come in, learn the game, enjoy the game, spread the word that they love this new game, get their friends in the game, help their friends play the game, and then guess what? Those numbers grow, the developer can keep supporting your game. Because if we don't support the game, they can't support the game. And then the game dies. All right, so let's go ahead and let's go through chat. But a little rant to start with there, but, you know, that's kind of the rationale of why I kind of get livened up by that. We got Sergeant in 2 places. I appreciate you, Sergeant. Thank you. Dutch Truck Guy, hello, hello. How are you? What kind of, let me see what kind of truck's in your picture? I can't tell from this range. I'm trying to think, are there any native Dutch trucks? I don't know any of the brands. Do you remember me from the forum, Smart Noob? Yes, I do. I do. I remember Smart Noob. Actually, I was checking the discussions this morning, and I saw the that you're get your stuff working. Let me see if I can find it. A lot of people were there. We are. Yep, there's Smart Noob right there. Yep. Yeah, I took a look at Smart Noob's boat yesterday. Yeah, it's one of that's again on that same topic. That's one of the reasons why, despite some of the negativity and the Steam discussions and everything else, I like to go in there. I used to go on Reddit. I don't anymore to help people out. But again, a community is what it makes of itself, and I could complain about it or I could do something about it, and that's why I like to go and try to help out and do some of this stuff. Can you help me with my boat? The engine's only working when I set near 50%. Go ahead and, look at the tutorial series, Smart Noob. That's going to be the best thing for you to do. Like, I got to work on some of my own builds for multiplayer tomorrow. Go through that series. I go through how to set up the engine, and then in episode 3, I believe, I convert it to a boat. I would go through that. And then also, if you go to the new player career build series, I pretty much take a boat from nothing and I build it up. I do all the things. I do stability. I do GPS navigation. I'll link the new player career build series. But that's going to be your best bet. Like me, I'd have to spend an hour going through it, and I've got some other stuff to work on. But best thing for you to do is go through the tutorial series. I'll also link the new player career build series. But that new player career build series is designed for you to be able to take. Here, I'll put this up there too. So here's the modular engine tutorial series. One of the episodes, I believe it's episode 3, goes into converting the modular engine into a boat. And then here's the new player career build series in chat. You can check that out. And that will go from building the boat, going through, and then making it, you go through step by step. So you build a boat, then you make it faster, you make it stable, you work on navigation, all those things that you would need to know as a new player. So I go through that. Some of the guys here are offering help too. If you go to the Discord and you join the Discord, there is a help channel there. Yep, it's not Seaworth. Cheers from the comments. Yep. Does creating a vacuum make it sink? There's a critical pressure inside where the water will stop. I believe it's like 1.16, something like that. Like here, we could test that out. Let me save this real quick, Sergeant. Make sure I fix this. All right, let me make sure I fix this. Let's save this. Ship. Sinker 5,000 test boat. All right, ship sinker 5,000 test boat. All right, so for example, Sergeant, we can go like, let me see. So there's a critical pressure, which is what would happen IRL. Is there's a reason why water doesn't completely go in a boat sometimes when it sinks. There was a story about this diving team went to recover bodies, and they get in one of the voids, and there was a dude there, and he was surviving. And the air can't if the air can't escape, you keep a buoyant volume in the boat there. And so eventually, the air can only compress so much until it overcomes the pressure of the water, and then the water can't come in anymore. And so there is a critical level. Let's go ahead and do this real quick. So let's go. With these doors on the side, they may still be enough to overcome it. But what I should be able to do is pump an absolute buttload of air in there. And we might be able to get the pressure up high enough where it doesn't want to come in. We may not, though, so let me check it. So the barometer inside, as you can see, the pressure's going up. So notice the pressure's going up. Eventually, we're going to get that pressure up so high that we might be able to stop all water intrusion. And this is how you would do a, oh my God, what is it called? Diving bell, but what is a wet locker? What the hell is the term? I can't remember it. It's when you have the hole in the bottom of your ship and you can put submarines through it, essentially. I can't fucking remember. My poor brain. All right, if you look right there, we're pretty close to being where the water's still coming in, Sergeant, but it doesn't want to come in very easily. We're at 1.13 atmospheres in the hull. So you see it's coming in, but very, very slowly. You know, so you can pump that in there, and the water is coming in. Like, this is the other thing you'll get. These open? Okay, they are open. Yep, they're open. This is just XML. There is water in here. That's the other thing. People go, there's no water in here. Dude. Go up, get a liquid meter, and look. Yep, there's water in there. Like, I see this all the time that people say, look, there's no water in here. Yeah, you're looking with your fucking eyeballs, dude. Look with a gauge. This is an engineering game. Look with a gauge. 14,000 liters. So you see, water is still coming in. It is very, very slow at this point because we're pumping air in here. And so that water has to overcome the air pressure. Now, some of the air is going out through the sides, and that is going to keep, you know, so we're probably going to eventually sink. But as you can see, you can use air pressure to slow down the sinking process, which you could in real life, too. You know? Yeah, so let's answer Sergeant's question about the vacuum. I kind of did it backwards. I did a positive pressure. We'll reduce water flow, so now let's just do this. All right, so let's blow that water out of there. Blow that water out. Let's blow that air out of there. Now it's going to push some water out, probably. So now we should be pulling a partial vacuum in there. As you can see, it's still going up. Could be because I'm... See, the thing, too, is the barometer is also probably reading some of that water pressure going in there, too. But, you know... Let's see. Let's do this. I could be pulling some of that water out at the same rate I'm putting it in. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go. Zing, zang, zong. Let's take a... Oh, come on. Gas relief valve. 1, 2, and 3. Let's take fluid ports. So this will just pull the gas out at this point. All right, there we go. That's just going to pull the gas. All right, so you see the numbers are different now because it was pulling some water out. Now it can't pull water out anymore. It's just pulling out air. We're probably still raising up because, again, the water is coming in. What the water is doing is the water is coming in, and it is compressing the air in there, which will increase the pressure. So as you can see, we have water coming in. So we're pumping the air out more slowly than the water's coming in, but you notice the number is lower. The number before was like 1.1 something. Now we're at 1.08, so I'm not able to pull a full vacuum with that amount of pumping, but I am able to reduce the air pressure, and the water is coming in faster now. You notice we're at 14,000 before. We're at 42,000 now. So, yes, the answer is yes. Again, there's a critical air pressure which it slows down, and that was like that dude was saying is, oh, it comes in very slowly. Yeah, like it would in real life. If you have a room and the air cannot escape, the water is having to fight that air the compression of the air. It's compressing the air. And if the water is at 1 atmosphere and the air is greater than 1 atmosphere, the air is fighting that water coming in. It's why, like, you could literally seal a hole in a container with air pressure. You know, you pressurize it, the air would keep the water out. All right, so pretty simple, you can see there. Let's see what the timing was. 63 seconds. So those pumps shave 6 seconds off of the sink time. You know, so they did help, but it wasn't a huge help. You know. All right, let's go check this one real quick here. This one should be. Oh my God, the hatches, they don't sink. All right, let's go look. Do the hatches sink? 760 seconds. So yeah, I get that guy's point. Oh my God, it takes forever. My poor life. Oh my God. I'm an old man now. I've waited 706 seconds. All right, so 706 divided by 60, that's 11.76. Oh my God, I'm old and gray. Okay, so yeah, but see, the guy who was complaining in the weekly discussions, not the correct place to be complaining about that, but that's where he's complaining. The guy who was complaining about, oh my God, it takes hours. Dude, 11 minutes is not hours. I know, hyperbole. A lot of these people live in the world of hyperbole. It's best if you don't, especially if you're asking for help for something. But that took 11 minutes. So if you want your boat to sink more slowly, like most people would IRL, and like a rescue game, you probably do not want your boat to sink instantly. You know, you can set how fast your boat sinks by how you can orient your doors. You orient them on top bottom like that. Took 11 minutes. That gives you time, for example, to shut watertight doors and fix the link. And you can have some fun gameplay where you try to actually save your boat. Imagine that in a rescue game. You try to save your boat from sinking. So you can do that. Or if you want it to sink in about a minute, you know, you can put the doors on the side. 2 small hatches sunk this entire boat in 69 seconds. 4 large hatches sunk this boat in 11 minutes and 76 seconds. Well, not 11 minutes, 76. 11.76 minutes. So again, this is where a lot of these people miss what is cool about this. We have the tools in game to do the things we want, but you have to actually do it. And you have to actually engineer your systems how you want it. You want to have a boat that sinks quickly? There you go. You want to have a boat that sinks less quickly? There you go. You want to have one in between? Bingo, you can do it. You just have to make it. The tools are there for us to do it. All right, let me keep looking. Ship sinker 6,000? Yeah. Sergeant, did you miss it? Normal damage? Maybe Sergeant missed it. Here. Normal damage does sink the hull. I did a bomb. Thought you were here for that one. Here's one with bombs in it. There is no hatches whatsoever on this. No hatches on this one. All right, we'll just wait for that. I'll keep check kitchen. DJ likes the space DLC. I do have the space DLC. Yep. I would like to use the space DLC more. Let me quickly look and see what we have on the workshop. I've actually was thinking of playing some Kerbal too at some point, but let me look. So let me find where the hell is the workshop? There it is. Let's see nav ball. All right, so what I want and what I kind of need if I want to play is a Kerbal-style nav ball. That's what I need to want to play space. And I am not good at Lua, so setting one up my own. I don't know what happened to Basilisk, though. Basilisk is okay, just taking a break. But I was hoping Basilisk was going to make one of these. Let's see, nav ball. The search function is not great on the workshop. Let's see. Yeah, it's tough to... The search is tough, man. So, like... I can't boot up Kerbal. I don't have it installed, but... Show you Kerbal. Like, Kerbal's nav ball is really intuitive and good. Let me get Kerbal's nav ball. Kerbal nav ball. So, like, the thing you need for proper navigation here is you need to know where you're going and at what rate you're going there so that you can then stop. All right, let's bring up a little paint here and I'll kind of show you. So I would love to play some space. I would love to do some of the rescue missions in Stormworks. The main issue is I do need a nav ball to enjoy it. And so I would need to either make one myself or have somebody make one for me or find one that works. Give me a filled in one, you scum. There we go. All right, so this is essentially the flat plane of the Earth. This is where we are, you know, on the land and the water of stormworks. And then you have the moon. And so my understanding is it's like a cylinder, okay? And so you have the moon cylinder and you have the land cylinder, all right? And so within this cylinder, there's a little band in the middle. And so let's not do an ellipse. All right, so in the middle here, there's a little zone, all right? And so in this zone, let's do some arrows too. All right, so if you go higher in this zone, you're going to be drawn toward the moon, okay? Gravity is going to pull you to the moon. If you're south of the square, you're going to get pulled down back to the planet. And so theoretically, what you could do in stormworks is, not theoretically, you can do it, is you could come up, you could take off from the surface, you can head up, and if you get into this square, if you stop your velocity, you can sit in the square and you can just chill out. Now that is super cool because what you could do is you could launch from the surface, you could launch a space station, you could bring the parts up here, you could go up into the square, and you can put a piece of the space station, right? So you put a piece of the space station, right? There's a piece of your space station, you just put it up in the circle. All right. Then what you do, right? So now you're floating in this circle, you then come down, get all my colors correct here. You then, you turn, you face this way, you propulse yourself down, you go in, gravity takes over, brings you back. You get another piece. You come up, you go in, and you drop another piece of the space station. This is what interests me. This is what I used to love to do in Kerbal. And this is what I want to do in game. That looks like a donger. Let's add to it so it doesn't look like a donger. Okay. That still looks a little dongish. Let's go like that. There we go. Not a dong anymore, clearly. So, all right. So you keep putting parts of your space station. That's what I want to do in game. All right. Now, the problem and what I need to be able to do this effectively and enjoy it is I need a nav ball like in Kerbal. So what happens is when you head up, right, you have a velocity, right? You have a V. That's your velocity. And you're headed in a certain direction, right? That's the direction your velocity is going, right? Essentially where you're rocketing is where your velocity is. Now, when I get into the square, I'll know that I'm in the square by the essentially altitude, and I can use the astronomic sensor to tell me that I'm at the correct altitude, right? I'm between the moon and the Earth, and therefore I have no gravity pulling on me. So what I need to do is arrest my velocity. So what I need to do is I need to be able to take my spacecraft, right, which has been rocketing. Let's put some orange for rocket blast, right? It's been rocketing in this direction. And I have a velocity. I have a V. My V is going in this direction. What I need to do is I need to turn my spacecraft around. And I need to now rocket 180 degrees in the opposite direction. And I need to make sure that my velocity equals 0. If I can get my V to equal 0, I can stop my relative velocity. So my relative velocity is now 0. Okay. So here I am, little spacecrafty. All right. And now that I've stopped and my relative velocity is 0 and I'm sitting right here stopped, I then want to go to my space station. So what do? I turn using RCS thrusters. I'm now facing my space station. And then what I want to do is I want to change my velocity, delta V, right? So I want to change my velocity and I'm going to thrust toward the space station. So I give it a little puff with my rockets and I go toward the space station, all right? As I approach the space station, oh my God, I will hit the space station or I will go shooting past it if I don't stop. So you turn around and you rocket opposite direction and you want to get your V to equal 0 again. Your relative velocity equals 0. Now, and relative velocity to the space station. You know, it's relative to whatever you're trying to intercept. So now I would stop, and now I'm stationary next to the space station, and oh my God, I can dock with my space station. I can go in and hang out in my space station. Very cool. This concept I love, but what I need is I need a proper nav ball to do this. Now, Kerbal, you can do all this stuff, and you can do it mainly because, oh, what did I do there? Hit the back button. You can do it because of the nav ball. And so there are some things in the nav ball that are important to know. So you have your prograde, your retrograde. I'm trying to see one that has all the stuff on the nav ball here. All right, here's a good one. This one shows all the different nodes, and they're 180 degrees away from each other. So here's your prograde right here. Let me see if I can open that in a new tab. So here's your prograde. Prograde is the direction you're going with your velocity. So if I was, let's go back to paint real quick. So if I'm going straight up here, my prograde node would be right in front of me. All right. So my nav ball would look something like this, with my prograde node directly in front of me. All right, that's the direction I'm going. All right, now I want to turn 180 degrees and I want to head towards my retrograde. All right, this is retrograde right here. Retrograde, same node, pretty close with an X through it. So this is 180 degrees to the direction of travel. So what I want to do there is I want to rotate my craft with RCS or gyros, and I want to face the retrograde. And so what I would do is turn around 180 degrees, and let's say I'm moving at 300 meters per second. I would thrust my engines until I'm now heading 0 meters per second. That would leave me stationary, sitting in space, not moving. Then I would rotate my craft, and I would thrust towards the space station. Now, you don't have to completely stop, but what you can do is, for example, you could turn your spacecraft. Your spacecraft is still going to be, let's say we're coming up, and we want to go right to the space station. We turn the spacecraft, and we're going to start to thrust. Let me get my colors right here. And we start to thrust in this direction towards the space station. Well, now what's going to happen is my prograde node is still going to be mainly facing... Oh, let's do green. My prograde node's still mainly going to be facing in this direction, like so. But as I thrust this way, it's going to go more and more this direction. And eventually, my prograde node is going to be facing my space station. And so now, my path looks like this to my space station. All right. And generally, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to actually aim your spacecraft a little bit this way so that you arrest the direction in this, the vector in this direction, to then correct the vector more this way so that your prograde node is facing the space station. And so as we're heading to the space station, we're going to hit it eventually, right? So what we're going to do is, let's say we're going 300 meters per second. We know we're going to get there in 1 minute. So what we do is we turn the spacecraft around, and we start to thrust in the opposite direction, like so. And now we're going to be pointing, the nose of our spacecraft is going to be pointing what's now retrograde. So retrograde, let's put the X through for retrograde. So we put retrograde on our nav ball, retrograde, and we thrust at retrograde. And what we'll notice is our 320 meters per 320 ms is now going down, right? We're changing our velocity, and now it's at 300. And we keep thrusting, and now it's at 200. We keep thrusting, it's at 100, right? 50 and 0. And then we know we're now stopped. And so we might turn back prograde back towards our, well, not prograde. We'll turn towards target, and then we'll make a new prograde by thrusting at, let's say, 5 meters per second. So if we are 1 kilometer away, it would be 1,000 divided by 5. It's going to take us 200 seconds to get there, right? So it would take us 3.33 minutes repeating to get to the space station. That's what I need to enjoy this part of the gameplay. And I don't currently have that. So if somebody, I think somebody did, but I can't find it. I need a proper Kerbal-style nav ball. That's what I need to really enjoy this. Let's see. I'm going to type in Kerbal, see if anyone put that in there. Let's see. Let's do a quick search, see if... Sometimes Google search is better. All right, so here's one looks like somebody made. So you can see, here's your retrograde node right here. So this is one somebody built in game. Behaves like the nav ball from KSP. So this is what I need in order to kind of enjoy the game, because or to enjoy that part of the game, because I need to be able to properly navigate. Like here's another one somebody did. So I would need to install this, test it out, see how I like it, to be able to do it. This one's very popular, so this was more, I think, what we're looking for here. But like this shows properly what I need, but I need this nav ball because I need to be able to stop my relative velocity. One of the issues we have in game is we can't move around our spacecraft unless it's pretty much stopped. So I need to be able to do that. I want to be able to put up space stations. I want to be able to interact with space stations. I want to be able to go and join up spacecraft. In order to do all that, I need a nav ball. And so if I can get that in, I would be happy to get back into the space gameplay, but I need that. So, all right, let me see. Let me quickly get reading through this. Yeah, but I do have the space DLC. That's kind of what I'm waiting for. Yeah, I wasn't sure where DAF was based. Oh, it looks like this one didn't blow up. This one did not sink this time. It does not sink 100% of the time, and if we look why, it's the pressure. So if the pressure is up, eventually you'll get a point where you kind of, your pressure inside the hull of the boat is too high. It will not always sink. Let's go ahead and spawn it again. So again, you can ventilate to force it to sink. But again, we did do this test earlier in the video, and it did sink, so. I found most of the time, I think it's like 60% of the time, we get a sink out of this one. That's what the green light is for. If the green light is on, we are at a low enough pressure, the water should come in and sink us. So let's let that go. Let me catch up on chat here. Oh, you got an Actros? Nice. Yeah, I wasn't sure where DAF was from. Man's Germany, isn't it? Will there be more planets in stormworks space? Probably not. I don't think they, you know, especially, like, again, the community's response to things and community support is how a developer knows to do more things. I think the support for fishing has been very high, so the devs feel confident in doing, you know, there'll be, it looks like 3 major updates for fishing. You know, the community shit on the devs when they did space. And so I don't think the devs are going to go back to space. The community shit on them for it, and they're not going to go back to it. You know, it would be nice, but you know, the reviews are not great on space DLC. The community has a poop taste in their mouth about it, and so I don't think the devs are going to go back and work on it. Yeah, if the community showed support for it, they would. You know. Yeah, Deutsch isn't German. Deutsch is German. Like Frecken Sie Deutsch is, you speak German. Moonpool. Yeah, Moonpool. I always forget it when I try to think about it. Moonpool, yep. Mining. Yeah, fishing's kind of... I'm trying to come up with some smaller fishing vessels that are more interesting for us to run together. Yes. Yeah, I finally got to it, Sergeant. Yeah. Ugh, 8 wide. Ugh, citrus. Devil. My computer began lag a little. I checked if some process used much RAM. The answer is yes. One process used 74. Well, that's like the last... So, for example, I talk about, like, people have been complaining lately about the game kind of hanging at 90%. And part of that hanging at 90% is, I think, when the vehicles load in. And I was using DaVinci, which is my video editing program, and I have the free version, and it uses mostly your CPU. So when you're rendering a video, my CPU will go to like 100%. Or if sometimes even during editing, my CPU will go to 100%. So the last time my stormworks hung for, and it wasn't a long time, it was maybe 35 seconds, it hung at 90%. It was because DaVinci was using 100% of the CPU. So I think a lot of the times when people are having issues, again, like I always ask, like, have you checked the processes? What is anything maxed out? Because oftentimes you'll find that, yeah, the game doesn't have enough RAM to do what it needs to do, so it's slowing down, waiting for RAM to be freed up, or it's needs processor power, you know, stuff like that. 8 gigs, oh my god. Ugh. Ugh, only 8. Yeah, I think 64 for most of the games I play is pretty unnecessary at the moment. All right, so this one is also not a sinker. We'll just keep sinking these, and we'll see what the average is. But yes, they will sink with damage. I've already shown early in the video that this one does sink from just bombs. You know, again, and you know, if you want to guarantee a sink, like I said before, put those side hatches on. You see how quickly it sinks with the side hatch. I'll make one of these with side hatches on it. Let's see, which is the one I just saved? Let's take this one, and then let's grab some ship sinkers. Again, the ship sinker 5000 is, again, it's just an XML, a couple XML blocks so that you don't see that there's a hole there, and it makes a hole. That's it. It's going to destroy a bomb. That's fine. So here's one with one ship sinker. That I'm going to... So we won't control the door. We'll let the bomb destroy the door. So if that hatch got destroyed, the door should fly open. Let's look in there real quick. So that looks destroyed to me. All right. So water's already in here. So likely with that, that's going to sink really fast. You know, this one is, it's kind of a, like I would say, probably a 60-40 proposition for this sinking. It's still, we're still pouring water in here. We'll see what it does, but it's based on pressure. So there's some hard numbers in the game that they've set that if you reach a certain pressure, the water slows down, and essentially you're not getting any more water in. You know, they have to hard code it. Again, it's not the real world where, oh, a wave blew it. Like you can say, look, put one ship sinker on there, thing sinks nearly instantly. You know. So again, the tools are here that if you want a ship that barely ever sinks, you can have that. If you want a ship that always sinks, you can have that. You want a ship that sinks in 2 minutes, you can have that. You want one that sinks in an hour, you can have that. You know, so it's very tiresome for me to see the ships don't sink when I'm literally like in 5 minutes just made one that, you know, sinks in. Let's see, what do we think this one's sunk in? Like this one's got to be less than a minute. 16 seconds. 16 seconds. You know, so not only do ships sink, but you can change how fast they sink by doing things like adding doors. You know, where you add doors, right? So this one here is going to be resilient. Let's see if that one eventually sinks. I got to swim down there and get this one. We know that one takes a long time. Like here, let's grab the ship sinker off this brush. Let's take this ship sinker, let's turn it sideways, let's put it on the deck like this. All right, so again, this is going to get damaged by the bomb likely. And now this is on top instead of on the side. Let's fill up the side hole here. Spawn it. So 16 seconds for it on the side, right? Now it's on top. Let's see. So again, these are tests that, you know, if those people spend as much time as they do complaining on the internet, doing a couple tests in game, they'd probably find some solutions to their problems. Yes, the stormworks Earth is flat. Let's put it that way. You could check it, but the thing you really need in order to be able to make sure that you can stop And the problem I was having before with my spaceship, because I didn't make a spaceship, but the problem I had before is that, you know, you need to have it very accurate. We cannot get out of our seat in game unless the relative velocity is pretty low. All right, so look at this one here. See how the green light's on? The green light comes on. I set it so that when it's at a certain, if it's below a certain pressure threshold, the green light comes on to tell you that we're going to sink. If that green light goes out, the pressure is high enough to stop water intrusion. All right, so the hatch on the side sunk us in 16 seconds. This one sinks us in, swim you bitch. He's stuck in the hole that I created. So likely there's a low pressure there. I'm getting sucked in the hole. 54 seconds. So I'm getting sucked into the hole here because of delta P. Change in pressure. There's still a low pressure in the hull. The water is pushing me toward that hole, which I think is pretty friggin' cool that they were able to add that to the game. So 54 seconds. So this one over here, let's see if this one will sink. Likely if the green light's not on, it won't sink. Yeah, we're kind of stabilized here. So there's no air escaping. So it shows you how, like, you know, you need that air to escape. Now let's try this real quick. Let's go ahead and turn the wind up. All right, now let's see if more water comes in. Hey, there we go. Let's see if more water comes in. All right, let's see. So likely in this one, the air is getting trapped again. Remember, I did take this one earlier, and it did sink. It was 60-40. I think it can kind of go either way, whether this one's going to sink or not with just damage. But again, we have all the tools we need to do it ourselves. Is stick a friggin' hatch on the side, and you sink super fast. Stick one on top, you sink slower. That allows you to control how fast you can sink a boat, or if it can sink or not. See, the light just went on. It's going to pour water in now. All right, so, like, we have all the tools we need to be able to kind of configure a game how we want. But again, it's definitely hyperbole when people say ships don't sink. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of bullshit. You can look right here. How many times have I sunk all these boats? Different types, different designs. They're all at the bottom. You can make ships that don't sink. You can make ships that sink. You can do it with bombs. You know, all the gameplay is there. You can do it. All right, let's see what I want to work on. Yeah, so like here, let's look at my spaceship real quick. So I would need that. You know, I don't like to use other people's stuff. I was working with Basilisk for a little bit on trying to get some sort of tool, and then I think Basilisk took a break. But you know, I was trying to get a nav ball going. Stand by, I'm just answering some messages. I think we'll let's take a quick coffee break, and I'll just answer some messages there, and then get some coffee, and then we'll do some stuff. Alright, I've returned here. Let's go ahead and, I haven't touched this, I haven't touched space stuff since, Space DLC came out. Would be nice to get into it. I would like to some of the missions. I actually, with this save, I left the missions, on for space, or I ticked the missions to be on for Space DLC. So we will see if we can get to them at some point. So here's my SSTO, single stage to orbit. Let me see what I have in here. Like, this one has a pretty complex airlock system. I've got microcontrollers on the outside of it again. I have to work on the RCS. But the main thing for me is the navigation. We have all the tools we need to do this stuff too, but again, like, a lot of us, especially in the Lua area, I rely on the community because I'm not very good at Lua. And so, like, you know, I kind of have to rely on when somebody else makes some of these navigation aids that I need. Let's see. Basilicious made one. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember how it goes here. Did I put that in here? I can't remember. Because I need velocity. I need to know the velocity in that direction to be able to do it. We'll take a quick flight up. O2. I'm trying to just remember what everything else is here. Gear. Yeah, he was making something, and then I think he kind of took a break. Let's see. So this is SSTO uses jets to get up and then switch over to rockets once it gets in the vacuum. So yeah, what I need is the Kerbal-esque nav ball. I need to know my prograde. So like right now, we're headed in this direction. The prograde should be right pretty much in front of us. It's actually probably a little bit lower because of gravity. Well, like that should be showing us where we're headed. So I've got it set up so it automatically goes over on altitude and velocity with the astronomy sensor. I haven't played with it in a while, but I don't know what the gyro button is on this either. I haven't played with this in a while. I forget where we start getting into kind of like space and things switch over. I think it's like 50,000, I think. Yeah, if I could get a proper nav ball with my velocity trend vector on it, that way I can adjust my heading to go to my targets. You know, so I might just download that Kerbal one that person had. That looks really intricate and cool, and it's got like 3,000 downloads, so it's probably pretty reliable. We've got the rocket on now. Here we go, we're getting into space. Yep, and the numbers go nuts on that. All right, so now because we're like, I forget what altitude you get to when you can, when essentially you no longer have gravity working against you. You know, but I would love to be able to put up like some space stations and stuff like that, do some of these rescue missions. But I really do need that nav ball to be able to make it work. Yeah. Lights. All right, so now as you can see, we're gonna still keep gaining altitude, even though we are have the rocket off, because you know we have very little resistance. Gravity is gonna slow us down a little bit, but see the problem too with this is I can't get out of my seat. So next thing I'd have to do is enable RCS. I need to be able to point away from... So I would need to be able to go to my retrograde node to get my velocity down. So you see we're going 380 and falling. Gravity is likely slowing us down. So I forget how I have this RCS set up here. Let's do just a little bit of rocket here. Let's turn ourselves here. All right, so let's go down 180 degrees. And you can see I can get myself pretty close. We're down to, see how it picks back up now? So I need to try to get myself stopped. Accelerating again. But yeah, so I need the nav ball. Once I get a good nav ball and I get the RCS tuned in, I'd be able to operate this the way I'd want. But that's kind of why I don't play with it much, is it's just, you know, there are other projects I'd rather work on than this at the moment. I love when it does that. Bring that back. We'll just clean that up. Yeah, so I need that nav ball to kind of enjoy playing it. And so eventually I'll get there. All right, let's see what we want to work on here. Here, let's clean up all... let's actually go back here, and I want to see if that other one sank. But yeah, that's kind of like a 60-40 proposition I find with this sinker over here. It's still up. That one's still up. But, yeah, so, I don't know. Long story short, you know, boats sink. This one's weird. Like, if I find, like, when I first spawn this sucker, it sinks the first time every time. And then after that, it doesn't want to sink sometimes. It's kind of weird. Let's see if we can get that one to sink again. I'll clean these up here. But yeah, so as you can see, boats sink. But yeah, I'm just so tired of kind of seeing those commentaries like boats don't sink. You know, they should. You know, like I get it. That doesn't bother me as much as like they then want them to take away the pressure mechanics because they can't be bothered to stick hatches on the side. That's what annoys me is they want to dumb down the game because they don't want to take the time to figure it out, you know, or ask for help for somebody else who already figured it out. Let us see what I want to do here. Let's check builds. Playing with some net designs, kind of still sticking with my old net design. That car could use some dress. And this, I've got some weeks for Big Man's Challenge. I could do some interior work on the D11 and these. I'm trying to like not do. I'm like not feeling interior work. We are doing multiplayer mining tomorrow, so let's go ahead and let's kind of do a little bit of work on some of these builds. Get them up to scratch here. Let's take the D11. D11, let's do a little work on that. Alright, so it's currently hooked to the seat for that. Let's get in the D11, see what I want. So the D11's whole job is going to be a winch platform for helping things get up hills. So let's get a winch on here. Okay. Yeah, it's just kind of a winching platform here. Let's we'll play with it and see if we what we can pull up and down. Kind of test its viability. I think we'll use Alistair's big old bitch to pull up the hill. That would be a good weight test on that. Yeah, I really like the pressure stuff. Like, that's more interesting to me and important to me than, like, the space itself. Like, you know, that was, you know, that, and people keep, like, conflating the two. Like, yes, it made sense to have a pressure update with the space update, of course. But the pressure update was also an asked feature by the community, voted for, and it came along with space for obvious reasons. But they conflate the two as though, you know, it was the DLC, and they're like, "Why do we have this? If it's DLC, we shouldn't have it." It's like, nah, dude, it was part of the base game. You know, it's made for the base game. It was asked for by the community. It had a rough start, but it's like things are good now, and it's like, you know, people keep like, you know, there was somebody more hyperbole of like, "Oh, my, you know, can't get my build to work," and it's like, dude, at this point, it's on you. Like, you really do need to learn the mechanics. They're not hard. Like, you literally can fix most of these things in minutes. And the problem is there's a large contingent of the community who do not play the game as intended, as a building and engineering game. They play it as a, I download from Workshop, I use what you made, I don't know how to make myself. And that's fine, but it's not fine to then kind of, you know, to expect the game to not do what its whole purpose is, which is you're supposed to build things. You're supposed to come in and build and engineer and learn how to build, and like if you don't want to spend a ton of time building, that's fine. But you know, they shouldn't completely change the game because of the fact that those people don't want to learn how to build, and they don't have to learn how to build everything, but they could learn how to build the things that would fix what is broken for them. You know, which is generally like putting a fuel vent on something will fix a lot of the stuff. You know, it's literally that's the complexity of some of that stuff is just putting a fuel vent on stuff, and it works. Park brake is on. Why is the park brake on? Air pressure, I'd say. I don't think Alistair's here, is he? No. You know, I like here. You know, Alistair's got air brakes on his mining truck here. I have air brakes on most of my big trucks at this point. You know, I love the pressure update. And the other thing, too, is I can see what's possible in the future. Like, for example, having hydraulics and pneumatics and really cool stuff that we could have because of this added complexity. And I think some of those people who just consistently, like, boo and hoo all the time because they don't want to put any effort into anything, it's like you're missing that. We could have some really cool shit. Like we could have pressure-based hydraulics where you can start to have hydraulic cylinders and hydrostatic drives and some really cool stuff that is there. And potentially, I think there are some other reasons why the devs did it, but potentially, you know, they pressurized liquids already. Like we already can pressurize a liquid up to 60 atmospheres. That really leads into hydraulics really well, where we could theoretically have hydraulic systems where the higher the pressure, the stronger the piston, you know. And that's the kind of stuff that we could have because of that mechanic, you know, and hopefully we will eventually get. And I need to make my video on hydraulics and pneumatics. Let me see if the brakes are off on this. They should be, but they might not be. I'm just trying to do the pull test. Get up in this. Get up in the. Can't see the wheel hub. There it is. All right. Brakes are at 100%. Alistair, what are you doing to me here? How do we get the brakes off? I did parking brake off. Let me see. It doesn't surprise me that the D11 can't pull it up the hill with the brakes on, but it says parking brake is off, Alistair. He was having problems with his brakes before too. I'll have to test it with a proper vehicle here. One that works. Shade, Alistair. Oh, fuck. Shade. Test it with a vehicle that works. Shade. The old 785. Do I have a center one? I keep meaning to put a center anchor on these. Here, watch. We'll go look at an air brake system that works. I was teasing Alice there for that. But look at suicide doors too that make it so you can get in the cab. I've already given him shit about the suicide doors. All right, my brakes will come off. As they should. All right, so like these trucks make it up fine. Some of the bigger vehicles, like Alistair's, sometimes needs to back up. They get a little slippery sometimes on these hills, so it's nice to, you know, I wanted to have a bulldozer, but I had like no reason to have a bulldozer. Now, like this is a good use for it, is being a winching platform to kind of help vehicles get up hills, you know. Let's start pulling this one back. Go. All right. I had to turn us a little bit here so we going up the hill properly. There we go. Likes to turn the bulldozer because I'm pulling from one side of it. So you see it start doing a braking force there because I'm pulling from one side, but still not doing a bad job getting it up the hill. That's a pretty gnarly-ass hill, too, and that's heavy. This has an absolute shitload of battle cannon pieces in the bed as well. So both the chassis and the bed have an absolute ton of battle cannon pieces in them. So just kind of let it work here. Let me see if I can get it turned again. The problem is I would want to let out some cable. So do that at some point. Kind of let it sit for a second. I'm going to go use the facilities real quick. We'll just let it try to get up the hill. All right, let's see if we can help this out a little bit here. Trying to get this This is broken at the moment. Let's fix this. Let's go and fix this. It's supposed to put the brakes on whenever I let go of the track buttons, and it's not doing that. So let's go fix that first. Don't know why those got disconnected, but they did. That's cool. You're making air brakes too. Yeah, I've got my system on a release soon there, Dust Truck Guy. I'll show you my system real quick. So mine is called TTIS, Tractor Trailer Integration System. And so I'm trying to get that released. Maybe I'll finish that up today and get that released. But here's TTIS. So my system works like this. So essentially what you're doing is you either use an electric pump or a belt-driven pump to pump air into the reservoir. And then you'll also send air out to the air line for the trailers. And so you'll have an air connection. So the air actually physically goes to the trailer, and that comes off of here, and it'll go out to a hose anchor. So you have your air reservoir, and then you have a brake valve, and so it allows high-pressure air to go from the air reservoir into the brake can. And then you have a blowout valve here that allows the air pressure to escape from the brake can, and so it actually will brake based on the air pressure in the brake cylinder. And then same deal. This is on the trailer. So this is the trailer segment. This is the tractor segment there. So that's how mine works. It works pretty realistically. It works well. It has good sound where you can hear like the air moving. All right, let's check. What the hell? Why are you not braking, you devil, you? Okay, because I didn't hook you up. All right, let's see. Starboard brakes. So all of these should have brakes on them. I'm gonna hook up the winch. I want to see if I can do stationary winching too, because like one thing I could do is go all the way up and then do stationary winching. All right, let's check winches real quick. I really don't want to put a big one on there, but I might. That one is, let's see, 150 meters. Let's do it. Screw it. Let's do it. Let's see how I want to put this. Maybe like that. I don't know. Let's see. Stop. What the fuck is going on here? Why do you keep doing this? I can't see what it's hitting because of the coloration here. Okay, that's battle cannon pieces there. Looks, that might be a little weird being that low. I don't know what is right there. That's a whole block that's hitting. detailing work on the back here while we're doing this. There we go. House top. Right there. There we go. Alright, let's for now, let's see, I don't think 1 and 2 are doing anything. Let's try 1, 2. There we go. Alright, we'll do that. I think I have infinite can't remember if I have infinite electricity on or not. Let's save that. I'm gonna make sure I got all the brakes. That was the whole reason I came back here, was to fix the brakes. Fix the brakes, I just did not hook them in. Alright, good. Save the D11. Let's go over there, try pulling it up now. So now it'll brake. The other thing too is I can head up and then winch it up if I need to, so that's kind of what I'm just testing the viability out. I really wanted a bulldozer, but no real good use for it, so. How's it going there, Gaming Baron 1? How are you? It is a Pat bulldozer, yes. It's my brand. Precision Advanced Technologies. It's based off a D11. Got a proper dump truck here with proper brake system. Keep talking shit until Alistair arrives. Right, there we go. Balls. I didn't put a rope. I'm gonna have to go get a rope. This sucks. All right. Yeah, I need to go get the rope. I forgot to attach it to the rope anchor, so I don't have one. Let's go check this, see if this sunk. We're probably far enough away from it. I don't think it has a keep active block on it, so it might have done nothing while I was gone. So let's see. But, long story short, there's you notice the green light's off. So there's a critical air pressure that once it hits that critical air pressure, the air pressure is too high to let the water in. And so eventually you're going to reach that. That's why put the ship sinker 5000 on it. It sinks every time. So again, all the tools are here if you want to have a ship sink. You can have it sink. You can change how quickly it sinks. It's all there. So when I continually see these people whining about it, it's like, it's probably, it's harsh to call it whining, but the reason I call it whining at this point is that's what it is. It's been out for quite a while. And I call it whining too because they don't ask for help. They don't say, hey guys, I'd like to make my ship sink. Can you guys give me some tips? It's wah, game broke, wah, can't sink. And that is whining. If people are like, I've helped many people before get their ship sinking. I have no problem with that. But it's a whole, the main thing is how you approach it. If you ask somebody for some help, and, you tell them what your objectives are, and you ask for some help, most people here, or a lot of people are going to help you out, no problem. But you come in it from a whiny perspective, and one, you're not going to get many people receptive to it, because it's like, somebody comes in and they're a pain in the ass right off the bat, like, who's going to want to help them? Because they've already demonstrated that they're going to be a pain. And so a lot of people are going to say, I'm not touching that one. And so it's like, come in, ask for some genuine help, and people are going to help you in this community. All right, let's jump back on the D11. Got the door in the way. All right. Put the blade up. There we go. Let's angle the blade too while we're at it. And I'm pulling this crooked, so it's gonna keep trying to break me off to one direction because you know the load's gonna try to shift. But at least I can steer us better now with this. You know, the plan is I'm gonna make a sinking ship examples, and it will be this one takes 5 minutes, this one takes 10 minutes. You know, it's not gonna be that necessarily, but it's gonna demonstrate because I keep seeing these people. I keep posting, like literally, I'll post a workshop link, and it will be a thing that they can literally just use, and it syncs. And then they'll keep saying, "Well, yeah, but I can't sync my ships." It's like, it just showed you that you can, man. Yeah, it gets frustrating after a while. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it took a little while getting to look the way I want to. Appreciate that. Yeah, I like the 785. I don't want it too big. I want more trips out of it, so. You know, so I think 785 is a good size. This has a pretty good capacity on it. Why the fuck is did I not hook up the lower the winch? I literally like just did that. No, it's not doing it. I gotta make sure I'm doing I'm paying attention because like let's go back to the workbench because I literally just did this and now it's I can't feed out my winch. Oh, it's very frustrating when I do that. I rush and then I fuck it up and then I have to go back to the workbench and I have to reload the add-on with the new version. It's very obnoxious. I get very scatterbrained sometimes and then I screw it up. All right, let's first do this. Let's add the rope. It's right there, man. 4. I do that all the time. I hook 4 instead of 2. There, that's what I did. All right. All right, there we go. Let's save that now and go back again. It's very frustrating when I do that. I rush and I screw something up and then I have to go test it and go do it again. All right, D11. Same one. Yeah, it's along the same lines too of like the people who are disgruntled with the fish being so far away. It's like there are close fishing areas, but also you have all the tools you need. You know, load it up with an add-on editor. Put your fishing boat out there with the add-on editor right on top of the fishing spots if you want, and then just drive back. You know, I think I like that we can finally do things with the big map. I'll put out some videos like showing the devs some things that I think would be cool, like to further expand like the size of the map. Like give us a reason. The map is 256 kilometers by 256 kilometers. Give us a reason to use it. You know, I think it would be great to have a little island out there, out in the middle of the ocean that we can fly to, and then we can spawn a boat. Let's raise the blade. Let's tip the blade. So one thing we can do is we can inchworm our way up there, and so I think this is going to be viable for that is, you know, I might not be able to tow this up the hill with, you know, while it's attached. Part of it being like it's hooked to one side, so it likes to pull the bulldozer sideways, which makes it so that it's not as effective. But also what we'll be able to do is I'll let out some winch, and then I can pull it in. Because the grip seems strong enough where it's not going to get pulled back down the hill, but we'll see. You know, because like the main thing is like most of the vehicles have no problem driving up these hills, and all they need is a little bit of a helping hand now and again. And so even, you know, like I'm doing the worst case scenario here if it's completely dead and it needs to completely be pulled up the hill by the bulldozer. But a lot of the time, like if it could either be winched in or just have the bulldozer help it, it will definitely be a useful tool to have. Oh, Out of Ore should have its update today. I play multiplayer with members and longtime subscribers. They're a very long name. Eventually, I'll put something on the Discord that will have, you know, a sign up for people who are, you know, other people. But no, just don't play with random people. How's it going there, Laxon? Good to see you. All right, so let's go ahead and let some cable out. So we'll inchworm the truck up here. Like there's enough grip where it's going to, you know, it's going to stay in position. There we go. So not too bad here. So yeah, so this will be a cool tool to have on the mine where, you know, like Alistair was having to back up some of the hills because they were slippery, and so now we can just like pull the bulldozer out with an add-on. You know, there are so many tools that are underused in game. I'll make a tutorial video on like, I'm not great with the add-on editor as it is, but the add-on editor is a really powerful tool in being able to do some of the things you need to. Like, we use it a lot in multiplayer mining where, for example, somebody who will remain nameless ends up, you know, if they end up, for example, if somebody ends up like tipping their vehicle over, you can use the add-on editor to launch a crane. You don't have to drive the crane in from long distance, you know, and so that is a very useful tool. Fuel, like a lot of times, like especially with you know, we're trying to mine, we're not trying to also do fuel and everything else at the same time, and the fuel areas are few and far between. You can turn on infinite resources and launch your vehicles full, and then I just spawn a fuel truck. If you spawn a fuel truck with the add-on editor, it comes in full fuel, free fuel. And if you want, you can subtract the money from yourself if you want to have it have a cost. But you can do that. You know, it cuts some of the busy work out. It also allows you to do some single-player stuff that would be, you know, untenable without the add-on editor. You know, it's just too much work for yourself, so you can spawn some stuff in. You know, you tip something over on the road, bring the add-on editor, grab the crane. Because, again, in real life, are you going to be, like, going back to a base and then driving a crane there yourself? No, you're going to hire a crane company to come and tip you over. And so you can kind of RP that as well. Bulldozer looks to be working, so... Yeah, it'll be on the Discord at some point. Like, you know, it's a benefit of membership. Like, you know, the members support me financially. I appreciate them very much, and so they get first crack at it. So YouTube, Twitch, and patrons, all those members, they get priority. That's part of their that's part of their reward for supporting me. They get first crack, and then. You know, I have some subscribers who have been subscribed to me for years, and they get next crack after them. So, you know, and also like you know, I know that the people who've been around here a long time aren't going to cause problems. You know, get somebody in a multiplayer game who wants to just go play bumper cars, and then I have to boot them. It turns something that should be fun into a pain in the ass, and so that's the other reason why I kind of keep that where it is. But bulldozer am working well, so that did a really good job of towing this up the hill. So this is going to be useful on the mine here to do some work. So I wanted the bulldozer, but I didn't really have a use for it. Now we do, so that's good. That's all working real well, really well, very nice. All right, good. All right, let's work on some builds. Some of them I don't want to work on, like just the interior work I'm probably going to put off, you know. There were a bunch of comments in the weekly update of people complaining about the okay. I'm just looking at Rasmus's he's sending me the new truck. Yep, thanks. That sounds good, Rasmus. There are a bunch of people in the latest even discussions on the weekly update that were complaining about multiplayer. When are you going to fix multiplayer? They're talking about the Wild West multiplayer service, and the answer is never. Again, the game is not going to be in a state where you can take any vehicle you want and go in this is 256 kilometers across, 256 kilometers tall. That's a huge area, right? That's 256 square kilometers there. And so that's a huge area. And the way the devs intended multiplayer to work, the way they thought we were going to do it, again, did they make assumptions? Sure. But, and you can't always plan for the lowest common denominator of people who just want to burn the world down. You have to make it reasonable. Like here, let's spawn Triton. Triton is probably my most resource-intensive vehicle. All right. Let's spawn Triton. Triton is not a multiplayer vehicle. All right, let's spawn it. And watch the game chug. All right, there we go. There's the warning. Triton is very, very logic-intensive. It's a very logic-intensive ship. All right. And so, because it's so friggin' logic-intensive, it's not optimized in any way, shape, or form. And so now imagine there are a bunch of these, all right? And if we look, my game's down to 43 FPS in single player on logic. That is 100% logic. The logic is slowing the game down because if the logic is behind, right, you're going to have, for example, you try to open a door at the best case scenario, you try to open a door and it's slower than the player, all right? And that, you can't have that. So what they do is they slow down the game so that the game operates as slow as the logic's operating. All right? And so we're down to 25. Okay. So this is the problem with multiplayer. We have two big, huge vehicles in a small area with one dude, okay? And you can see where I'm at. All right? These are not optimized. All right? And they're not optimized because I didn't optimize them. All right, now imagine you have two big vehicles right next to each other, and then you have somebody flying a jet at Mach 2, and then you have somebody flying a helicopter over here, and then you have a couple guys over here playing bumper cars, which once you get two blocks phased into each other, it's a huge FPS problem. And then people will complain multiplayer doesn't work. It's because, you're not playing it right. And that's essentially what the devs kind of said. And people will make fun of the devs said we're not playing multiplayer right. Is you're doing things the game never intended to happen. And because the game never intended, the game is not designed to work that way, you're playing the game in a way it's not designed to work, you're going to have bad results. Because that's not how the game's intended to work. And so, at the end of the day, that's what I wish the devs would just say, hey, listen, you guys want to play multiplayer? Go spawn a boat and everybody work on the boat together. Make sure the boat's optimized. Make sure it's it has physics flutters in it. Make sure the logic isn't crazy. Make sure your friends have good internet and go have a good time. Because like we play multiplayer mining with 6 to 8 people quite often and have very little problem. And it's because I try to optimize the builds the best I can, which they're still not super optimized. They have a lot of pretty complex logic, and they still work pretty well. We were getting a good 30 FPS with 8 people, thousands of miles away, but they're all on my PC. I have a good PC. We're hosted on my PC, good PC. I have very good internet. Most of the people who have no problems have good internet. Every once in a while, we'll get somebody with not great internet, and guess what? They have problems. Again, that's not the game's fault, right? It's their internet's fault. And so you can't really blame a lot of that on the game. And you got to understand how it works. Like, the reason we're at 24 FPS now is very clearly the logic. You can read it. It's right here. I'm getting 98 frames. The logic is at 24 because I have an absolute shitload of logic going on in a very small area here. SV environment is up That's at 10 something. Physics join is up at 23. Like, the data's all here. You can look at it. It's all here. You can see what's going on here. All right. And so, and this is why. It's, again, design choices that I have made. Right. It's usually on the engineer why these things are having a problem. If we open up this is the logic on Triton, and this is why Triton is such a beast to be running in here. Like, look at all this stuff. Like, that is the logic for Triton. The editor slows down with Triton's logic. Like, look at all this. It has to keep track of all of this complex logic in real time. And it slows the game down so that you are moving at the same rate as the logic. Because otherwise, your engine would be stuttering. You know, your doors would not be opening when you press the button. You'd have to wait until it catches up. So instead, it slow-mos you so you're moving at the same rate as the logic. All of this logic, and I have 2 of these spawned right now, and we're still getting 25 FPS. That's pretty damn good. You know, people get spoiled. They think, you know, oh, it's supposed to run like some optimized game where you don't build your buildings. No, it's like if you put an optimized build in here, like, for example, Tethys. Tethys is much more optimized. Like, still has a shitload of logic, but Tethys is a lot less intensive than Triton. So we launched Tethys and Triton at the same time. We're at 30 FPS. We picked up 5. Let's get rid of this Triton over here. You know, so generally, it's generally on the user, a lot of these problems. And it's generally not going to be something the devs can quote-unquote fix, because it is not something they can fix. Because unless they say, okay, you can only put this many logic connections in a build, which people would then cry that, oh my god, the devs aren't letting us do what we want, right? The problem is you can't do something insanely complicated and then expect to have no consequences. There are consequences. There are slowdowns. There are things that are going to slow down because you put a lot of logic in. Right now I'm at 60 FPS with Tethys. All right? Tethys is better optimized than Triton by a long stretch. Here's another Tethys. Let's put 2 in. All right, there's 2 Tethys. Where are we at? 39. So we're around 40 frames. 35 to 40 frames with 2 Tethys in. All right, we were at, what, 20-something with 2 Tritons in. You know, and so when we were playing multiplayer mining, we were at 30, 35, and we had, what, 8, 9 vehicles spawned in with 8 people. You know, so you got to take some personal responsibility. When you build your builds, optimize them, reduce unnecessary logic, because, again, you're asking this build right here to do thousands, potentially millions of calculations in short periods of time to operate. And then you need it to speak with 8 different people. And if you're on some multiplayer Wild West server, it's never going to be able to keep up. You know, you have somebody with a potato computer and potato internet flying around at Mach 2, everybody's going to lag out. And then they blame the game, where it's really this dude, like, you're doing things the game never intended for it to do. And everybody's, like, part of the way the game works, too, is, like, if I'm up here in the Arctic, all of this is despawned. And you can see this for yourself. Like, we're over here at FJ. Let's no-clip quickly and get over to the next base. And you'll see how some of the vehicles despawn. So, unnecessary items will despawn. Chunks of the world will despawn when you're far away from them. And that's... most games do that to save resources. So, where are the fuel pumps? There they are. See how they pop into the world? This is a vehicle. So, often when people say, hey, my fuel pumps disappeared, mine have never disappeared. I think it's likely that their PC is so slow that what happens is, when it pops back into the world, the computer is not able to read the data fast enough, and it saves it without the pumps in there. And so this is a physical vehicle. You can check it. You can go onto the world and see, look, this has a pipe, it has pumps, it has tanks. It's a physical vehicle that's in the world. And that vehicle despawns when you get a certain distance away to save resources. This is a physical item right here, a physical hopper that has an infinite storage that you can put minerals in. And so when you fly away from these bases, that disappears to save resources. Most games do this. All right? And so when you have 35 people on a Wild West server, you know, trying to play Stormworks, and they're in every corner of the map, none of that stuff can despawn. It all needs to be processed, and it slows the game down. All right, we're still close enough. These didn't despawn. But that's general culling that a game will do. Like, these will despawn if you get far enough away from them. All these things will start to despawn the further you get away from them. You know, so if you have a Wild West server where people are all over the friggin' place, nothing can despawn. And the devs even talked about they intended people to play together, not be like 32 people just flying around doing whatever they want. They thought people were going to hang around. And so, like, when we do mining, we're all in this area here. We're all within this area right here. That's where every one of us are. And so guess what? This is all despawned. The Arctic is all despawned. None of the rest of the map needs to spawn. The only area that needs to be up and working is right here. And because of that, the game runs normally. Now, if we were here mining, and you had people over here mining, and you had people up here mining, and you had people here mining, and you had people in the Cavern of Thales mining, and you had people up here in the Arctic farting around, yeah, the game would probably be slow to a crawl because nothing can despawn, and the game has to do all the calculations at once, and it's just not going to be able to do it. Just not going to be able to do it. And people just need to realize to be reasonable, frankly. All right, let's catch up with some chat here. How's it going there, Paul? Good to see you. Yep, again, for multiplayer, it's members first, then longtime subscribers, and then the random John on the street. So the random John on the street's got very little chance of getting in. Best chance you got is to hang out and subscribe for a long period of time. I got people who've been supporting me for years. They get first crack. Members always get first crack before them. So that's kind of like how the whole thing works here. Like, literally, you can check the F1 menu and see what's causing problems. Like, there were some problems the devs talked about where, say you have a mission pop up, right? And it's blue pickup truck, right? Blue pickup truck, go rescue blue pickup truck. They were having a problem where 2 or 3 pickup trucks were spawning at the exact same location. Most games have a problem that if you try to spawn 2 vehicles into one another, or you have 2 objects occupying the same space, it absolutely destroys FPS. And that's usually SV environment. So if you have a bunch of blocks spawning within one another, it will usually kill SV environment. And so if you go in here and you look, and SV environment is cranked to the hilt, that's usually, right here, SV environment. SV environment, that's usually what the problem is. And so there was a problem where there was some lag in the game caused by missions multiplication, and the devs fixed that. And so, like, there will be, sometimes you'll look and you'll get 3 helicopters spawn right next to each other, 3, you'll have an absolute shitload of hospital boats that will grind the game down to a halt. So, you know, now imagine you got 32 people on, I don't even know how many people can be on one of the public servers. I've never been on one because why would I? You know, and it, you know, the game's never going to be able to do that. You know, those people are never going to be happy either. Those are the kind of people who will never be happy. Anyway, so I'm going to try to, let's see if I can get something to, let me see if I can get an abomination going here. See if we can get an abomination to kind of show what I mean with SV environment. Let's see. I'll probably do it with the add-on editor pretty reasonably. Let's see if I can do it with the add-on editor. Yeah, let me do it with the add-on editor. That's going to be the easiest. So let's go back over here. And I'll kind of show you what I mean. We might be able to get SV environment to kind of go crazy here. I got to save. All right, so let's take this. Let's go here. Let's grab a vehicle. And the other problem, too, is you get the jerk factor with a lot of these things. And, you know, the public is full of jerks. Let's just put it that way, right? The public is full of shitheads and jerks. And you can get some jerks who can very quickly screw up a public server, right? You know, they purposely try to just DDoS the sucker, crash it, make it as ugly as humanly possible. You know, so look, I'm putting vehicles inside of one another. That's a big no-no in games. They don't like that. Here, let's really just bring it to its knees here. All right, so I have a vehicle both clipped into the ground and into other vehicles. It's already causing problems there. All right, so see how it's freaking out? All right. SV environment was at like 1. It's now at around 9. All right. I have a logic of 7 FPS. Look at me. I can't even move. All right. See how slow mode I am? People blame the game for this. Oh my god, the game sucks. Multiplayer's a mess. Devs, fix multiplayer. This is what you have people doing in the server. You have a bunch of jackasses smashing shit together. And as soon as we get close, we'll probably crash here because things are starting to get damaged. They start smashing shit together, and then they want to blame the game for it. It's like, no, a lot of it is user behavior. You got people who can't behave, and they do stupid shit like bash their ships together, or they take a jet going Mach 2 and they slam into your boat where you're trying to just fish. And then they blame, like I have not landed on the ground yet. This is not the game's fault. This is decisions people are making fault. Like, look at SV environment. We're at 58.6 ms, 62.3 ms, 71 ms. Look at physics END. Physics END, oh my god, is at 2222 ms. That's fucked. Alright, this is what causes the servers in the game to be a mess. It is not game bad. It is people making decisions that are not wise. For the most part of it. Like, this is what causes the, oh my god, the servers are unplayable. Yeah, because you're there with a bunch of goofs doing stupid shit. You know, and so what you can do, for example, is what we do. I host it on my PC. I have a set of rules. Nobody goes in a workbench except me. Because if I go in the workbench, I slow down the world. If I get too far from the other people, it can cause issues. And so we all, you know, we have a set of rules. We don't dick around. People don't smash vehicles into each other. We don't play bumper cars. And we have a fine time because we have rules. I have still not landed. All right. This is what you can do, and this is what people literally do on purpose in some of these servers. They will literally smash shit together, and then they go, oh, look at this evidence that the game sucks. No, you suck. You know, you're just showing that you suck is what is happening here. You know, so this is what you can do, and you can see exactly what happens when a game goes bad here. We've got 1,627 physics END. We've got an SV environment of 187. Oh, where are we at there? Physics join is up around 128. Nuts. Okay, those are nuts numbers. And as you can see, I have my computer has 109 FPS. My computer's fine. See? Look, my computer's fine. It's not my computer that's having the problem. Is that the physics is so far behind because I'm asking it to do unreasonable, unrealistic, unnecessary, bad things like over there. That the physics is down to 0 FPS, so it is making my character work at 0 FPS. My computer is at 120 FPS right now. My computer's having a great time. My computer's having no problems. It's the physics that's going down for obvious reasons because we're asking it to unreasonable things. We're going to look at the process manager here. My CPU's at 38%. My memory's at 13%. My Ethernet's fine. I'm at less than 50% on my GPU, so my computer's handling it fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It is the physics is going down because we're causing way too much bullshit that no game would be able to sort all this shit out. Most games take shortcuts with their vehicles. They're fake. They don't do a million calculations at once. They fake it. And they do that for optimization. That's what optimization is. So when a lot of these people ask for the game to be optimized, what they're asking is, take away the ability for me to make the logic calculations that I want to make. Take away what the game is about so that I can go around bashing the shit in game. Yeah. And there are some reasonable people. I don't want to make it seem like completely unreasonable, but this is why the public servers will never be able to be lag-free is because you got jackasses who will spawn shit together. Like, literally, you'll have two people jump on a workbench, and at the same time, without communicating with their mouths, will spawn two vehicles at the same time. They spawn into one another, and then the whole server gets to live with zero logic frames. Because two jackasses couldn't be, hey, I'm going to spawn my car next. Could you wait a second? Okay, thanks. Hey, I'm out of the way. Go ahead, spawn yours. Okay, it spawned. Go ahead. You know, that's how you could solve a lot of these problems. But that's social engineering. That's harder than just doing this. And we clear it. And look at this. Let's go back. And we're at 62 logic FPS. So now imagine that somewhere on the map causing all that friggin' ruckus. And imagine how bad a time you're going to have on a public server. That's why I will never go on a public stormworks server. Because there's too many jackasses there, frankly. You know, I can host it on my PC, I can control things, and I can make sure that doesn't happen. You know. And so, like, it's some of these things are pretty easy to solve. You know, and you can look at it. You can look at that F1 menu right there. All right, so. Where's the Titanic? Yeah. Yes, I like, we could probably do it, Rasmus. The main issue that there are some legitimate issues that could be improved. Like, for example, if I go on the workbench while these guys are out working, that causes problem. If I no-clip and teleport because I'm hosting the game, it's tied to me. Like, say we had a server, which I'm not going to pay for a server, but, like, say we had a server for my Discord, and that server was always up and running, and then it wouldn't do that, because the server is hosting, I'm not hosting. The problem is when I go in the workbench, the host has now paused the world, and so everybody else goes in slow-mo. And when the host teleports, the host is the center point, and so it makes everybody else's vehicles, like, jump sometimes. So I solved that by staying close to everybody, and we have no problems with it, you know. But so much of it is like people just need to take personal responsibility for their own behavior and have reasonable expectations. And guess what? If you have reasonable expectations, you'll have a reasonable time. You have unreasonable expectation, you'll have an unreasonable time. You know, pretty simple there. But you can see it's not hard to make the game grind to a halt doing things that it should not have to worry about, right? You know, I think we could probably do, like, minor shit and have this be a pain, too. Like, here. Go back to the add-on editor. Let's go. This is excessive. Like, it doesn't take much to cause some ruckus. And this is like the devs are saying there was an issue where a couple vehicles are spawning into each other. Here, take two cars. And again, like, this is something that's not, you know, innate to Stormworks. It's innate to games. Like, GTA, you know, the trains were immovable objects. And when you have two immovable objects, you know, hit each other, all the game knows is the train can never come off the tracks. And you have two trains hit each other. So neither train can come off the tracks. That spells disaster. Because there's no flexibility. There's no bending. In real life, two trains hit, what do? They crumple, they bend, they derail. That energy is moved into different areas. And so you don't have unrealistic results. All right, so there's two simple cars loaded into one another. Right, so right there, that's not that bad until they start blowing up. So we had 62 and still they start blowing up. Now we're down to 33. Now, it's not even the blowing up that's the problem. It's the fact that we have blocks that are not supposed to be in the same space, Right, we're at 27, 28. You can see SV environment is going up. You can see, where is it? Physics end is on the high end. Nothing like it was before. But now, like, there's that, oh my god, like, the game sucks. No, it's you put two objects into one another. What do you expect? No game's going to be able to do that. They fake it. Other games fake that shit. That's how they get away with it. They have to fake it, you know. And you can see, like, it's slow. I'm slowed down to the speed at which the physics can calculate. Right, so you can see how, like, all you need is 2 jackasses on the server to spawn 2 cars on top of each other by using the workbench at the same time and spawning 2 things at the same time, and bingo, you get FPS bomb for the entire server. That's all it takes. And so when people keep crying, devs fix multiplayer, they can fix multiplayer. They can make it so that limit public multiplayer to 8 people. Limit the distance from one another to, I don't know, 25 kilometers. Limit the number of vehicles that can be spawned at once. Right? Make it so that 2 vehicles cannot spawn at once. They could do that, but then what would happen? Tears and crying of, the devs took away all our freedom. You know, again, you know, you have to have a, you know, if you want a good server that doesn't have these problems, you got to have a ton of rules. And that's just how it has to be. And, you know, so the devs are going to get, they're damned if they do, they're damned if they don't, you know? But that's kind of a real simple kind of explanation of, like, why, you know, I find that very eye-rolly every time I see that post. Is because it's just like, they're not going to be able to do what these people want. Like, because people want to do unreasonable things. All right, let's see what we can work on here. I really don't want to work on the interiors of some of these things, so let's not do that. All right, we made some good progress in the D11. D11's usable. A lot of these interiors I will work on eventually, but I just don't like doing them on stream. It's just me working panels, and it's kind of blah. Let's see what we want to do here. Let's see if we need anything special for tomorrow. I think we're pretty good for tomorrow. We've got, most of the mining vehicles are up and running fine. We don't have any problems with them. Do we have any electrical problems with the 6040? I don't think we do. Let me check the 6040. Let me make sure all the electricity is plugged. I think it is. I think 6040's electrical is all hooked up. Yeah, I think we're good on the 6040's electrical. Yep, that looks good to me. Let me make sure that the gens are working correctly. So right now, like, eventually I'll work on this. Like, I'm kind of like in no mood for interior detailing. It's just not what I'm looking to work on. All right, so this, let's shut off, make sure infinite electricity is off. But you guys kind of see, like, how easy it is to make a server go down. And, like, you can see the weekly comments on some of these videos of the jerks that, like, inhabit this game. And now imagine them on a public server. Like, they want to prove their point that the game sucks by crashing a couple vehicles into each other, and then the game goes down, and then they go, poo game. It's like, no, poo you, dude. You know? Alright, I don't have anything that reads let me see if something... I need to find something electrical that I can read. Alright, yeah, we're making electricity fine, so this is good. This is generating electricity fine. Let me double check, make sure I can fill this with fuel. That's important. Do you guys, let me check my to-do list. Guys who play multiplayer Citrus Rasmus, do you guys, is there any, let me check out your vehicle, Rasmus. I'll do that too. I'm trying to think if there was anything that needed to be done, like need to be done for tomorrow. We've got a bigger fuel truck. That was something we needed. I've got that going. That was good. Let me grab Rasmus's truck for tomorrow. Am I being pinged there? Okay. Let me download Rasmus's virus. Yeah, download it. The old Euclid. Oh, I meant to make a shortcut to that. Where are you going? Pin to quick access. Thank you. All right, let's grab Rasmus's truck. There's the Euclid right there. What the hell is up with your suspension still? Hard axles, use hard axles. Let's see what that's doing. It's not causing any FPS issue, it's just being wonky. Let's see. Handbrake. Why do you have the suspension like that, Rasmus? Why don't you just go hard axles? Got a good slow dump, slow drop like you'd have in IRL. I like that. What unit is that? Holy shit. Look at that. 86 somethings. Probably kilometers an hour, I'd imagine. That's miles an hour. It'd be a freaking mess. What is that, kilometers an hour? It's got to be kilometers an hour. Got 2 engines in there? Try how you fix the suspension. What is, like, what's the point of the suspension being like that? Why didn't you just put hard axles on? Just put hard axles on there, frankly. Yeah, it's just like, look at the subgrids for really no reason. It's like you're adding like, look at all the subgrids here. Like, even some of these subgrids, you could go like this. Pinky blocks. Like, you could go like that. And that cuts your subgrids down. Like, your subgrids for days here for no reason. Like, that's yeah, let's cut these subgrids down here. Like, trying to keep the lag as low as possible. The more of this we have, the more likely we're gonna be lagged out here. Like, I would personally, Rasmus, why don't you hard axle this sucker up? That's gonna cut out so many subgrids. And it's going to increase because, again, like if you have any desync and you're driving the vehicle, you're gonna have subgrid problems, I would say. So even that cuts the subgrids down. I don't even know what's up with all this. What are you trying to do, like rocker linkage on there? Bed. What is up with all this? What was all that about? That's torque, okay. Where's that headed? Where's your engine torque go in? That's what I want to know. Looks like there. I can see what I'm working on. Did I just delete all that? I deleted all that. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, it's like this stuff is not, like, this is what I mean, like, multiplayer optimizations. Like, stuff like this is just adding to complexity for complexity's sake that is easily going to be able to cause some problems, where I would just personally hard axle this up. That's, what is all that? Where is this attaching here? I'd say that's got to be a drive shaft, huh? Like, are you running the main axles off different drive shafts, or what's the dealio with that? What's this? I hate might not be able to move in the editor right. Let's see. That is coming off of that. Jesus. What is this? Is this clutch here? Is that your drives? Yeah, I'd rather no suspension version. It's just like, that's going to be a weak point for where the game freaks. Yeah, make a no suspension version. Like, that is going to be much more... Yeah, I would do that, frankly. Like, yeah. You know, more, like, the more subgrids, the more chance you have issues. Solid as a rock. Shouldn't have any problems. Should run pretty well. And like let's look at the original version. Let's count the subgrids. You should be able to get this down to 2 subgrids almost. You know, doors are fine. Doors aren't a big deal because they're not like gonna interact with anything. But like, you got subgrids for days. Yeah, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13. Jeez, 14, 15. These the same? 16. Oh my god. We're high on subgrid count here. Yeah, you're looking at like, wow. And then these are triples. There's 3 more, 6 on that. So like, this is like a 25 subgrid vehicle. Like 75. Count 75 subgrids. We got doors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, we can, here, I'm going to do this with this. Like this right here. That helps the 75 right there. There's, just cut off a subgrid on that. Take this. There's a subgrid gone on there. So like here, I'll even optimize my build a little bit here. Mainstays here. We gotta come off of this. Yeah, so like this is what I mean by like optimizing too, is you do stuff like this. So like now subgrids are, these are one piece, the piston sleeves, piston shafts are one piece. These are I forget what they'd be called. Like, let's count these together. These are their own grid. So let's like cut this out, or count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this has 11 subgrids on it. Yeah, so that's 11 subgrids. So that's better optimized. Now, fucking hate how that jumps me. That's because all the people complained about the movement there was nothing wrong with, as far as I'm concerned. They couldn't fly like Spider-Man anymore. Let's dump the bed. I probably need power for that. Yeah. I'm just making sure this articulates properly now that we have new subgrids. Yeah. So like, yeah, even that helps with optimization, cutting down subgrids like that. Yeah, something simple like that helps a lot just to reduce subgrids. Put this, save this. Like that was something I did with the rope shovel. Rope shovel got a huge optimization pass where I hard connected the front arm. Let's count that out. See where the rope shovel's at for count. I'm just curious how some of these, like these here, like see I made these one piece. That helps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so like this build has 12 subgrids, 13 subgrids. Yeah, this build here has 13. Actually, it has 14. Count that door. Well, that door is not a subgrid, so 13 subgrids. So like this is 13 subgrids. So that usually helps with some of the optimization. Kelvins per hour, yeah. Yeah, I assumed it was, yeah, once I saw 86, I was like, there's no way this is miles an hour. Sounds good, yeah. Yeah, I think stiff suspension just works. Like, it's going to reduce the problems in a multiplayer environment, because if it gets bouncing, it could continue to bounce and cause problems. So I think that's going to be better for multiplayer. Let's see what Alistair's has for subgrids on it. What's he got? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Shaft spray. 11. 12. 13. Something like 13. Like, he could further optimize his too by doing this. Like, there are some simple shits you can do that like, they don't hurt the build at all. Like, just doing this. Bingo. Now that's one piece. Because, like, one of the ways the physics, the way physics chooses which part gets the highest fidelity for physics is the closer it is to the red part, the better the physics is on it. And so, like, for example, like, his cylinders are now one color. There's no reason for those cylinders not to be one color anymore. And so, like, I can't cut there and not cause problems. So, like, one thing he could do here is, like, no, stop, you bastard, you. Cutting random shit here. So, like, see the cylinders here? All you do is take the cylinders, merge them like this, and now his cylinders are one piece. And so that cuts down the subgrid count there. So, like, now the build, I've just dropped off, what is it? 2 more subgrids by doing that. So there's 2 subgrids, and it should have it should operate exactly the same now. There shouldn't be any change in this, but it now has 2 fewer subgrids. So, like, little things like that help with optimization. So, like, the bed, you notice the bed works the same. Nothing changed. The bed still tilts the same. The hydraulics work the same, but I was able to cut out 2 subgrids by doing that. So, like, little things like that do not hurt your build, but they make your build better optimized. So something simple like that can easily help. Yep. Yeah, I find the best optimized suspension is no suspension. Yeah, especially something like this with hard axles. Like, a truck, generally, like, a truck suspension is all there for the load. It's not there for, like, you know, bouncing off hills. Like, you go bounce a truck off a big hill, you're gonna bend the frame. you know, the suspension is there for like is for the load. It's not there for you know, comfort. It's not there for like going and ballsing off of hills and shit. But yeah, like so, like there's not too much optimization I see on this. Like I could use, but like that, these are fine. They're small mirror cameras. Those aren't moving a lot of weight. They're probably not going to get jammed up. But like just putting those cylinders together, put the pistons together is just cutting a subgrid system down that you don't need. Yeah, like this is pretty light on that. These have subgrids. That's not a huge deal for the mirrors. You know, like those can't be merged anyway, but yeah, like that's not too bad. But yeah, so yeah, solid actually probably be a little bit better for multiplayer. Let's see, what's this message here? I get pinged here. Yeah, I haven't been able to, if Paul's still on, I haven't been able to get controlled depth nets to work as well as I want yet. I was playing with them. I didn't play for too long last night to try to get them to work, but trying to do a little bit of depth controlled nets. You know, the problem is this with depth controlled nets is, let's see, let's get a new one here. So like if you, oh my God, that's, oh my God, that's bright. All right, so if you do, so like for depth controlled nets, the problem is you have the cable, which has a really strong force, and that force is trying to pull you up. And then you have the, you know, if you have the fins of the winch housing trying to pull you down, the resultant vector is still up. And so you need some big fins to be able to overcome because the ship is literally pulling you up this way, which the resultant vector is like, looks something like that. And so, you know, you end up with a resultant vector that is going like this, and you need a lot of fin trying to pull you down to get those to go down. You know, so you either need an absolute shitload of mass, or you need fins, which is quite a bit. So I might try some stuff with just some mass buoy. Taking the piss out of truckies, you nibbed. What? Thanks, Rasmus. Yeah, we'll use that one tomorrow. But like, there's some things we could do. Thank you, Rasmus. I'll pull that in tomorrow. So, like, one thing, let me take a quick coffee break and we'll play with some nets really quick. All right, I am back here. Yeah, let's play with some nets for a little bit. So, you know, the net tutorial is pretty popular. There's of course there's, you know, the thing, it's like with any engineering, there's 101 ways to do anything, and so you know, that system works well for what it is. There's you know, there's gonna be some simpler ways, there's gonna be some other ways. You know, I kind of like to use aerodynamics and hydrodynamics. It's kind of what interests me. That's why I kind of did that system. I played with some stuff here where, for example, I put on a physics sensor on this and I actually tried to do depth control. We can play with that a little bit. Or I try to actually control the depth of this and also control the tilt angle. Let me make sure it's hooked up right. We'll play with this a little bit. I want to try just some weights and buoys. I want to eventually get into a fish finder. My lure is not great, so I'm going to probably make a more analog fish finder anyway. Want to get into the navigation system at some point. These have, one cool thing too is these have cameras on them now, so we can actually see the fish going in the nets. I'm really hoping that the next fishing major update is going to be pots, because I think that's a lot more interactive for multiplayer. Like, this is still fun multiplayer, but it's like, we're pretty much like all standing around, kind of like looking at each other while we're doing the actual fishing, and then, you know what I should do here? Let's grab this. We're kind of just sitting around looking at each other while we're doing the fishing, and then, you know, we raise them up and just kind of look at each other while we're raising it, where pots would be like, there's a lot more jobs and it's much more interactive, and I think that would be good for multiplayer. You know, because generally what they're doing is they stack the pots on deck, and then they will go ahead and, you know, then they have to load them on, launch them, bait them. I think I would love to see the devs make it so that we have to bait the pots, because I think that then, you know, you could rod fish for a little bit of bait. You could then take some out of your hold to then use for bait. I think it adds a good dynamic to it where you have to bait those pots for them to have an attractive force. And then, you know, so there has to be one fish in the pot before it will attract any other fish. So you just put one in there, and then it attracts other fish. And then because there are now more fish in there, it continues to attract. Yeah, I think that's kind of a cool little mechanic. But you can see we have cameras on the nets now. So we can actually kind of look at what's in the net without having to go down. So again, you know, people talking the arduous journey out to the so far fish spawn hotspots, and I get it, but like this is there's a reason why I just spawned at this base. This base is very close to a hotspot, and so this is my seed 192837. Coast Guard outpost is over here, and right here is the hotspot. You know, so that's a real short trip. So I do all my fish testing here, or I do it over here where we've got a close hotspot there on this save. Also like it over here because we're kind of in the middle of the water here on this movable island. The water gets deep fast, where over here we get some real shallow areas. So I got to kind of wait to test the nets. So this is kind of good testing over here, but a little bit of peculiar behavior in the nets. With my system, but again, it's kind of it's a passive system, so it's kind of got to expect that there's going to be a little bit of tweak on there. Both cameras are upside down, which is a pleasure. Gotta flip that camera at some point. All right, and then I have depth control here. Let's just set 150 meters on there. That will just max them out, or negative 150. Should be negative 150. Make sure I didn't set these backwards, but I think it's negative 150 is what I want to set. And so you see, they're going to try to dive. They are twisting, which is supposed to be orienting correctly, but I don't know. I gotta play with them. They're funky at the moment. I've been doing a bunch of testing with them. Gotta wait a minute for them to billow out. You see they're starting to get a little bit crooked and crisscrossing. I don't know why they're doing that, but they still work, so that's frankly all I give a shit about is do they work, and they do. You know, they billow out fully. That one you can see is starting to, the fins are starting to try to correct this one being upside down. See how it just flipped itself? So it's probably too high of a p-value. See how it's kind of dancing now? So it's probably too high of a p-value on there. This one's starting now. So that's me trying to control them so they're not rolling funky. And then also control their depth. So you can see the fins moving, see them? So likely the p-value is too high on those and I need to tune them in. But you can see now they're going all the way to the bottom. So this one's kind of oscillating. That's in an oscillation loop. This one is got us pinned to the bottom like I've asked it to. So not too bad. One thing I could add on there too is vertical fins that will then push them out or in. But you know, at the end of the day, you get good fish fast with these nets. So that's all I really care about. You know, because the cable is trying to pull them back to the surface, and the fins are trying to pull them down, and so it's kind of a fight of which is going to win. You know. So the fins are doing a pretty good job of holding them down because that is, like, that's a lot of force the cable's trying to pull it straight up. You can see, so we got some pretty big nets here. They're stable. They're controlling for roll. You know, the p-value, you can see the p-value is definitely too high as they're dancing. I just put a 1 in there just to test it, but you can see we can now kind of better control our depth here. You know, so I can kind of set these where I want, so a little bit more configurable. And they're big, they're pretty damn big, so we haul quite a few fish pretty fast. And then we're getting into the dolphin zone is right up here. So we hit a hot spot pretty quick. Like, let's set one of the nets to a different depth. Let's go negative 70 meters, or yeah, 70 meters there. Now we'll see what that one does. So you can see it trying to come up, and so it's just folded the net up trying to come up. So we'll give it some time. That's a lot of people just don't have patience. They want things to act instantly. You can see this cable is already higher than the other cable, so it is attempting to get it up, but you got to wait for, there's an inbuilt mechanic in the game for nets where they billow, and so you kind of got to let them billow out on their own too. So like, I don't know how much me having them be pulled on by that is gonna cause them to fold up for a little bit, but see, as soon as I put in the depth correction, it folded up a little bit. Usually if you wait, it will fix itself, and then if you reel them back in, they'll untangle. Like, what's that, port? That's port. So like, if you get that problem, you can just reel the nets themselves in, and then that will untangle the cables. They're not working too bad. I was thinking of making some ground ones, but like, one thing I want to try at some point is I want to try doing huge winches on pulleys and then radio controlling the actual net component. And that way I want to get really, really deep nets. And that way we can try to get some of the low fish. As this is supposed to be a bottom fishing vessel, so something we can do at some point. But I do like that they made the nets configurable where we can screw with them. That's, I think, a lot more interesting than just being like, here are 3 sides of nets. You know, you're going to get the general crew of people who they don't build anything, so of course they're not going to be able to do anything until the actual people who play the game are able to build something for them. And so they're probably part of your crew that they're like, oh, the nets are too small. You know, it's like, you know, they don't build them themselves. So as these extend, you'll notice the nets fold. That's part of the, I would say, the billowing mechanic, where Until they fully extend, the nets take some time to billow back out, so I just kind of have patience and wait. You see this one starting to billow back out again. They have been getting tangled up recently, but again, as long as they still catch a shitload of fish, I don't really care. Wait for this one to expand at some point. You can see it's starting to expand now. Again, patience is the name of the game. You know, you just kind of got to wait. It's part of the inbuilt mechanic to billow out. This one, it looks like it flipped upside down, so now the fins are working backwards. So that's something that I got to be concerned about, too, with trying to do depth control nets. At some point, I'll come up with just a weight and a float system, I think. Be kind of a cool thing to work on. Well, like, this is the hot spot. Like, I don't know, the people complain that's not enough fish. Man, it's like, you get a lot of fish pretty damn fast. You know, it's like, I don't know why they want to make, like, insane amounts of money, like, in 10 seconds either. It's like, you can make the net as big as you want, you know, pretty much to the workbench size. Well, that's a lot of fish pretty damn quick right there. Like, here, let's set this up to... see if that one dives. I can't see too much what it's doing. You know, the cable is working against them. Like, it would probably help if I slowed down. That would probably help. Because I'm going full speed, too. Which, you know, again, there was somebody who put a post up. They wanted, like, they want to be going, like, they want to be able to use a jet to fish. And it's like, dude, get out of here with that. Like, they designed it to work with boats at a certain speed. It's like, you got to expect that's what's going to happen, you know? The standard trolling speed is, like, 2 to 7 knots. Like, I'm going way over that. Like, let's slow down to, like, a realistic speed and see how the nets behave there. Because that's the other thing, too, is, like, you know, the fish disappear when they get too far away and they reappear in front of you. So it's like, there's no point in, like, going super fast fishing either. It's like, it's kind of, you're going to do just as well as kind of going slow and steady than you are going fast. Now, see the net sinking that we've slowed down? Because the cable's force pulling up on it is now less. So now the net is sinking down because the fins can overcome the force of it being pulled up. You know, so kind of controlled for depth a little bit. You know, and these dolphin fish are kind of like, they're all the way at the surface here and they're all the way at the bottom. So it's like, there's no real, like, point in picking a depth. It's kind of like, just consistency is key here. Is just gotta keep fishing at a consistent depth. Yeah, and if it moves around, you just get them at different depths. And you can see we got a lot of fish there already. Like, let's stop and pull and see what we've got. I bet we got quite a few fish. I don't think so. I think as long as the net is open to its max size, you're going to catch the most fish you're going to catch. You know, there are some specific fish that are, like, low. Like, I think anglerfish are very low. You know, like, certain of those really, like, high-value fish. And, again, I think that's cool. I think that's a good thing that devs did, where you have a high-value fish that you need a specific type of engineering you need to do. You need to engineer something that can go really, really deep. You know, big challenge, big reward. You know, that's pretty basic, you know, pretty basic game development there. Is you should get a big reward if it's a big challenge, you know. Something that's easy should result in a small profit. Something that's hard should result in a big profit, you know. You know, you got a really challenging condition you got to meet, you should get a lot for it. You got a very light challenge, you should get a little for it, you know. Pretty basic game design. You know, like, that's where we spawned. You know, so it's like kind of the complaints of you got to go far to fish. You don't. You know, you might have to go far to where you want to fish, but that's on you, man. You know, modulate one's expectations. Let me make sure I'm not phantom forcing something here. Yeah, like we'll run a quick profit check on this, but like this is profitable doing it like this. So I found if you put the net a little bit like in there, it doesn't like have to be right in there, but like pretty close, it they'll tend to go in a little bit easier. See, they're all going in now. There's no floppy, a couple floppities, but for the most part, they're going right into the hopper. So we lost 2 dolphin. The dolphins seem to be the ones that most want to not stay in there. I mostly just fish dolphin because that's where my closest hotspot is. Oh, shit. Again, this is why they made the nets have no collision. As you can imagine, like, if you got something stuck in there, like we did that little test there where I showed you how bad the lag will get if you get a bunch of shit stuck in one another, you know, and then all the people who thought they wanted that, it's like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea until you realize how bad it would be. All right, so let's, I'm going to bring up the spreadsheet. We'll just kind of measure out the fish here. The fish. Is that fish? What the hell is the fish? Fish price is right there. All right, let's see. We start with Ballan lizard. Oh, I've actually never seen a Ballan lizard before. Let's, I got to insert a row. Ballan lizard, huh? I need a price on that. Ballan lizard. All right, we'll get a price on that. Ballan wrasse, we have 2. Black bream, we have 1. I don't have a price on black bream. I gotta get a black bream price. Dolphinfish, 65. Makes sense. We're in this dolphinfish hotspot. That's 4,800 a dolphinfish. Haddock is 2. John Dory, we have 3. John Dory's good money. Labras, we have, how many Labras? We have 4 Labras, 6 Mickerel, 1 midshipman. Perch is 1. Pike is 4. And then pollock is 2. And I won't be able to see the rest until I kind of empty some of this out. So I'm going to try to grab a Ballan lizard. And I need a black bream. Midshipman, I know. Let's go ahead and... so currently, like, there are more fish in there. We just can't see past because the list is full. Sea bass is 3. Sea bass. Where are you at, sea bass? Sea bass 3? You can't see what the hell sea bass is. Sea bass 3 right there. Sea bass is 3. So currently that's 8,550. Like, dude, we went from there to here. And we've made 8,500 bucks. That's pretty damn good. And like, we could hang out here indefinitely and catch, you know, an absolute shitload of fish. So I think you know, as long as you're like, you have proper nets and you're using good methodology, you should have no problem making money and adequate money. Let's take off infinite resources real quick. I need to get a price on this. What do we got? The old Black Bream. We're at 20,000. Black Bream is now what? So that's 100 bucks for a Black Bream. Okay, and then we've got the lizard. The Ballan lizardfish. Hello, sir. So that one was that 200 bucks? 200 bucks. So Ballan lizard is 200 bucks. All right. So yeah, so that's at least that's 8,500 at least. You know, in a short period of time. That's pretty damn good. You know, your nets don't have to be perfect. They don't have to doing fine without it being perfect. How many more Ballan lizardfish? Just the one there. Red mullet. How many red mullet? 2 red mullet. Okay. Red mullet. Where the hell are you? Red mullet. 2 red mullet. Sea bream. What do you got there? That is 1. Sea bass 3. Yeah, so that's 8,900. Plus we just sold another 200 fish. So that's at least 9 grand. Plus there's probably something below sea bass that I can't see until I empty this out some. Because the list goes, let's see if I can do page up and get more. I can't go down this. So the 106 fish. So we got 106 fish in that first sweep. You know, so that's not bad. Like even if it was 50 bucks, that's 5,300, you know? So that's pretty good. Ballan Aboria, yep. You like the slap sound? Yeah. Yeah, but I would really like to see pots. It would be kind of cool to just be able to set the pots and attract the fish and come back, get the pots. A lot of good crane work. I think that would be a lot of fun. Long line would be a good interactive thing for multiplayer. A bunch of cool things we could do with multiplayer on that. Let us see. What are we doing here? I think we'll finish up. Probably end up with a pretty long stream tomorrow with the multiplayer. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like. Commenting always helps out. I'll put up this sign up for multiplayer here just after I get off, and then members can sign up for that, and long-time subscribers, and we're gonna do multiplayer mining tomorrow. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.